Good morning, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us today. My name is Chad Tibbets. I'm a training specialist with Assa Abloy Academy. Today's topic for our virtual instructor-led training is Corbin Russwin door closers. Before we get started, I wanted just to mention a few things. First, that we have 2 to 3 weeks of scheduled VILT sessions that are on our website that you can register for and check those out. We have new topics coming in all the time. One that I would like to highlight is today's session this afternoon at 2 p.m. Eastern is a part 2 of 2 on Luxor One, one of our newest companies with Assa Abloy that provide touchless solutions for package delivery, which is really cool. And of course, during the type of world that we're in now, where people are shopping more online, as well as trying to avoid personal contact, really, really interesting stuff. So check that out this afternoon if you haven't registered for that. Again, I think it's 2 o'clock Eastern. Also, while you're on the website, if you haven't signed up for our Assa Abloy Academy, we have a different site, a learning management system, where you can sign up for free again and take over 50 online courses that you get a certificate of completion after you take a short quiz after every single session. And they range from basic door hardware topics all the way up to more advanced topics such as fire codes. As a reminder, this session is being recorded and will be available within 24 hours for you to reference again. We have all of our sessions that have been recorded available for you to watch again. Right now, I think there's 160 to 180 recorded sessions that you can check out if you missed something. Also, your lines are muted, but you can communicate to me via the Q&A feature built into Zoom. I'll reserve some time at the end of the session for question and answers. And also, you will get an email thanking you for the attendance today within 24 hours that you can use for self-reporting if you need a proof of attendance for today's session. So without further ado, we're going to get into this session. We'll have you here today around an hour, maybe a little less, but really interested to get started. So here we go. Corbin Russwin is a fantastic facility with many years of hardware building experience. They are in Berlin, Connecticut, and this is an aerial view, the top picture that you see there, which is, if you see there that they don't plant crops, that's not a big cornfield that you see the rows, but Corbin Russwin actually gets a large majority of their electricity from solar power, which I think is really cool. Really nice to be as green as possible in the world that we're in now. You can see the view there from inside the factory. So it's really nice to have a manufacturing facility that is still manufacturing things in the US. Today we're going to go through several series with Corbin Russwin. The first one that we're going to talk about is the DC8000 series. But before we get into the specific series, you may be very new to the industry and not know exactly what a door closer does or how it functions. So we're going to briefly go into that first. So a door closer is a mechanical device used to control a door, and the control is the important word there, because there are other devices such as spring hinges that can close a door, but they don't control a door. So hydraulic door closers are hydraulic because they are full of hydraulic fluid, and the hydraulic fluid works with springs and valves to control that motion of the door. Here's a quick video, and I love this video. It shows the internal workings of a door closer and shows you more about what's going on. So if you're a project manager and you're walking a job site and door closers are not functioning properly, this will give you kind of an idea of what's going on that'll help you out.
Cast iron closers from Assa Abloy are rugged and reliable, providing millions of cycles with minimum maintenance. But the true durability test comes during those inevitable times when extreme forces are applied to the door and the door closer. Our single-piece construction provides uniform strength and wear resistance, and eliminates potential leak points. Let's look inside to see what makes this cast iron closer so durable. Here's the basics. Each time the door is opened, the closer arm turns a pinion, which moves a piston inside the fluid-filled chamber. The speed of the piston is controlled by fluid passing from one side of the closer to the other. The valve controls the speed. When the door reaches about 70 degrees open, oil begins flowing through the back check valve, gradually increasing the amount of pressure required to open the door farther. This cushioning effect is called the back check function. When the door is released, the stored energy in the spring pushes the piston back. The fluid is now routed through valves that control the closing speed of the door. The sweep speed valve meters the oil flow from wide open to within about 7 degrees of closed. The latch valve then takes over, controlling the last 7 to 10 degrees of the closing swing. The latch and sweep speed of the door can be increased or decreased to obtain the desired door motion.
So that gives you an idea of what's going on inside of a rack and pinion type door closer. If there is a rack and pinion type door closer that you're looking at, the valves may be in different places, but for the most part, they operate at their base level the same. We will be looking at a different technology a little bit later, but we're going to get right into this. The DC8000 series is a cast iron closer. It is BHMA grade 1 certified. That talks to the durability. We are very passionate about building product that is durable, and grade 1 is the highest level of certification that you can get for that. It is both fire rated in US and Canada for a positive pressure, and that's really important. Make sure the doors close and latch in the event of a fire. All of these bodies, the closer bodies, are non-handed. The body itself can be used right hand or left hand, and it can also be used the same body for the standard application or our regular arm, top jam, parallel, as well as track. And what that means for you is if you're a stocking distributor and perhaps you have an end user that comes in and needs a particular door closer with a particular arm, maybe you don't have it in a package itself. And I know that some distributors piece parts together to help the end user for that day. Just know that the door closer bodies are the same across all of those different mounting types. So you could grab an arm off of the shelf and add it to the door closer. These door closers come standard with an ABS plastic cover, but know that metal covers are available. If you are interested in the architectural plated finishes, then you would need a metal cover, and that's going to be specified as an M73 quick code. And with Corbin Russwin, quick codes go at the end of the product string. So if we look here, that's a DC8200 by the finish, and then we have a quick code beyond that. But we can do much more electroplating and powder coating than you may think. We have many colors that are available for you to choose from, and also some custom that are available. So please get in touch with the factory if you have a job that perhaps is a professional sporting team and they want the door closers and the doors and the frames to match their color scheme. It's definitely something that is an option. With the DC8000 series, all of the adjustment valves are staked in place, and that just makes sure that it's difficult for an installer to accidentally back out the adjustment screws too far. Just adding to the durability and the longevity of the door closer. So I think it's a nice touch that Corbin Russwin stakes those valves to prevent leaking. If the door closer is leaking and it loses fluid, then it does need to be replaced. So preventing that is important. We also have 1/8" Allen head adjustment screws, and that again adds to the durability and longevity of the valves. If you have to adjust the door closer frequently, perhaps because of unbalanced HVAC system or something else of that nature, having that 1/8" engagement just makes the valve last longer. And the valves are also made out of brass. Brass is a very smooth and precise metal. It allows for really accurate and fine adjustments. The DC8200 series, the 8000 series, has two internal pressure relief valves, and these valves work with the forces that are exerted on the door closer in high use, high abuse areas, as well as in areas where you may have weather issues, very heavy wind. So we're going to watch a quick video explaining what pressure relief valves do and how they work. And I'll say that this is unique to ASSA ABLOY group brand door closers, where we have some of our models that have these pressure relief valves. And it's very important, especially where I grew up in West Texas, where the wind blows like crazy.
Cast iron closers from ASSA ABLOY Group companies are designed to outperform the competitors in abusive situations. Pressure relief valves inside ASSA ABLOY closers lower internal pressures compared to the competitors. During the close cycle, closer oil is forced through the valves to slow the door and prevent slamming. In abusive situations, high pressure builds up inside the closer body. Competitive closers offer no way for the pressure to escape, and this can damage the closer, the door, or the frame. This is why the unique ASSA ABLOY self-regulating pressure relief valves are so important. Under abusive conditions, the pressure relief valve senses the extreme pressure and automatically meters the fluid to achieve more normal pressure levels. This helps prevent costly damage in high abuse applications like schools and healthcare. To see how closers react to internal pressure, let's pressurize an ASSA ABLOY and a competitive closer to determine their breaking points. The competitor's closer bursts from internal pressure at 3,100 pounds per square inch. The ASSA ABLOY leaks at 3,510 psi. Based on these results, if we don't want to damage the closers, the internal pressure should never rise above 3,100 psi. Then we tested what would happen when a door is forced closed. Using standard BHMA force tests, a weight is applied to the door to force it through the closing cycle. To simulate abuse, we tested up to the maximum of the test fixture, 145 pounds, and also measured the internal closer pressure. The results show that increasing the force on the door increases the pressure inside the closer. The highest internal pressure reached in the competitor's closer was 2,515 psi, but the highest pressure reached in the ASSA ABLOY closer was only 1,856 psi. You can see the effect of the pressure relief valves beginning at 100 pounds, lowering the internal pressure response to applied force. To see how that relates to real-world abuse situations, we measured how much force people can put on a door when forcing it closed. We found that the average man can easily apply the equivalent of 175 pounds on the door. So, it's easy to understand that during normal use, it is possible for people to exert abusive forces on the closer. But we wanted to go a step farther, so we tested with a college-aged athlete. The results? Over 225 pounds of force was applied to the door, building up internal pressures well above the competitor's potential failure point. The results are clear. People can generate over 200-pound loads on doors, well above the failure point of the competitor's closer. But pressure relief valves in ASSA ABLOY closers reduce the internal pressure, keeping doors, frames, and hardware undamaged.
So, personal story about the pressure relief valves. I started as a locksmith in West Texas, and we had a call one morning where a customer called and they were very distraught. They had had a door closer that actually exploded because of a straight line wind that had grabbed their aluminum storefront door. And the closer itself actually did explode and sent shrapnel throughout this small department store and coated clothing in hydraulic fluid. I believe that if we'd had a door closer on that door that had pressure relief valves, I don't think that would have happened. So just a real world example of why these are so important. The DC8000 series is a bracket mount install, which I love. Being a former technician, having a bracket that you can mount to the door first, that you can quickly measure and align everything up with your templating and get that on the door, just saves you time and energy and having to hold that heavy door closer up there while you fasten everything. So big fan of the bracket mount. The cast iron closer is a one-piece body, and that's unique again to our brand. We do that so that we eliminate potential leak points. So really the only places that it could leak are around the adjustment points and the spindle itself. The cast iron just being one piece, again, just talks to the longevity and the durability of the device. And these are very durable door closers where we've cycled them over 25 million times. And that's incredible for a door closer when ANSI BHMA grade 1 just says that it has to go 1.5 million cycles. So going 25 million cycles, again, just speaks to that durability of that door closer. So a few things, key advantages, again, it's a multi-size closer. The spindle is cold formed heat treated steel. That just, again, adds to that durability. The piston is a 1.5 inch diameter that just allows us to move a lot of fluid in a controlled manner. It does come with self-drilling screws, which does help with the installation time. You can order as an option sex nuts and bolts so that you can clamp the door closer completely through the door. Definitely good for a door that doesn't have a door closer reinforcement, whether it's a hollow metal or a wood door. It can be tri-packed. We'll talk a little bit more about that as well. Tri-packed means that it could be mounted regular arm, top jam, or parallel. And if you want to tri-pack, then we just need to order it with the standard parallel arm configuration. It'll come with a bracket for parallel arm, and then it comes with the arm that you would use for the top jam or the regular. And there are also retrofit plates available to go over the mounting holes for an LCN 4040 or 4010 series without having to re-drill holes into the door. I think that's really important if you're going from one brand to the other. So again, a 25-year warranty, very long-lasting warranty. We have this really cool feature that some other companies have as well, but it's a power adjustment arm bracket. And for the standard arm, you can rotate the bracket or the shoe of that arm to gain an extra 15% of closing power, which I think is pretty cool. The door closer has all of the same adjustment valves that you would have with other standard door closers, including the latch speed, the closing speed, the back check intensity valve. Back check is to keep the door from smacking into a wall or a window, something like that. So you tighten that down to slow the door on the opening cycle. The closing speed valve controls the door from a full open position, whether you've got that door closer templated to 180 degrees or 90 degrees, it controls it from the full open, whatever the door closer can do, down to about 12 degrees of close. And then from that point, the latching speed valve kicks in. The spring adjust is there to adjust the closer from a power level 1 to a power level 6, 1 being the weakest, 6 being the strongest. This door closer is ADA compliant, but that means that we may have to back down the spring adjustment to reach those ADA values that we need. And then as an option is a delayed action valve. Delayed action is really critical, especially in the healthcare environment where we need extra time to walk through that door with a cart or perhaps a bed or something like that. Delayed action can slow the door from 20 seconds to 90 seconds, depending on how we have the door closer templated and how we have that adjusted. So it kicks in at the 90-degree point, and it slows that door down dramatically until it gets to 70 degrees, and then it kicks over and the closing speed valve takes it from there. So we're going to talk about several different closer series, but kind of all at once. The DC8000 is the primary one we're going to be talking about, but the DC3000 and the DC6000 share most of the ARM configurations that we're going to get to next, which again makes it easy for a stocking distributor that they're going to carry parts. They don't have to carry individual for everyone. Now there's some exceptions to this, and we'll talk about those as we get to it. So the DC8200 series is a regular arm series, and the 82 in the 2 zeros at the end, that just tells us that it's going to be mounted on the pull side of the door. Door closer is going to be mounted on the door, and the arm is on the frame. The arm sticks out, sticks off of the frame 90 degrees. It is a very efficient way of mounting this door closer, meaning that we gain as much energy or force available in the door closer to control the door. So if we're looking at this, I love the way Corbin Russwin does part number schemes. DC stands for door closer. If you've looked at their mortise locks, they're going to start with an ML. Their exit devices are going to start with an ED. So we have door closer. We have the next digit there. The first number is the series. And then the mounting method is the last digits there. So the standard arm, you don't need to specify any arm if you want just our standard adjustable arm. So to get that, you're going to do the DC8200 by the finish, or you could specify a hold open, and Corbin Russwin keeps their hold open very consistent across all of their arms and all of their closers. If you want a hold open arm, it's going to be the A1. Okay, we do have some specialty hold open arms that are going to be a different code, but your A1 is your hold open arm. These arms are available for all 3 series that I was mentioning earlier. Let's say you have a really high use, high abuse environment where you need a heavier duty arm. Well, that's going to be Corbin Russwin's A10 arm, and we would specify that as a DC8200 A10 by the finish if we wanted a regular arm, but also having it heavy duty. This is a tamper resistant, meaning that we don't use screws that attach the pivot points, so that you can't take a screwdriver and just unscrew it. It's a solid forged steel and riveted arm, very, very heavy duty. If you are one of those large institutional K through 12 university healthcare, I would highly recommend the heavy duty arms in those applications if you're in a really, again, high use, high abuse environment. Now let's say that we have something specialty. Well, all of our specialty brackets and feet can be found in the back of our catalog. And as just an example, let's say that we have a bullnose frame where it's rounded. There's not really a flat place where we can mount the door closer arm, but we can order that frame mortised so that this mortise arm bracket will fit, and that is going to be specified as an M84. So that would be a DC8200 by the finish, and then followed by the quick code. So moving from a regular arm mount to a parallel is probably one of the most common ways that you're going to see door closers mounted. It's very aesthetically pleasing. The arm does not stick out into a room or a hallway. This is mounted on the push side of the door always. Door closer is mounted to the door. The bracket or shoe is mounted to the frame. And there are a lot of options when it comes to arms available. So as I mentioned earlier, you can order this as a tri-pack, and that's really important for stocking distributors. If you're not sure what the customer is going to be ordering, whether they want regular, top jam, or parallel, you can just order the DC8210, and the 8210 is going to come with this parallel arm bracket, but it's also going to come with the same arm that we would use for regular and top mount. And it's available with all 3 models. You can also get this with a hold open. Again, A1, it's very consistent across all of the door closers. It means hold open. So we could do a parallel hold open arm, again, giving you that bracket, and it's available with all 3 of those series. Let's say we have a heavy duty situation where we want to hold open. Now in the catalog there's an asterisk with every hold open arm, and that just means that you cannot use a hold open arm with a fire rated assembly. We can't mechanically hold open a door because somebody could hold it open. There could be a fire and the door doesn't come closed. So it's really important that we pay attention to that. But if we want a heavy duty parallel hold open arm, we would specify that as an A2. And the hold open range from this is from 85 to 110 degrees. We have another arm we're going to talk about here in a little bit where we can hold that door open beyond that 110 degrees. So that may be one of the factors that you use to determine one arm versus the other. And that's a little thumb turn where you can activate or deactivate the hold open. It's available for all three series. If you just want the heavy duty parallel arm that is that's a non-hold open, that would be our A3 arm, and specify it in the same way. It is also available for all three series. And if we look at the difference between the standard arm, which is adjustable, and the heavy duty, you can just tell without even holding them that there is a big difference in strength and durability. But not all doors are created equal. There's so many different applications, and perhaps you have a door that it just gets regular use, it's not abused, the regular arm would work fine. We also have the ability to add a stop into an arm, and this is a backstop parallel arm. And you can see right here that we have this steel stud that can be screwed from one side to the other. That allows us to change the handing from right hand or left hand, making it a non-handed arm. It is an A4 arm, again available with all three series, but this is what I would call a dead stop arm. We would change the adjustment place for this arm. We would move it on the door depending on how far we want the door to open before it hits the dead stop. But we always want to make sure that we adjust the back check properly on every door closer, but it's definitely important here so that the door closer and the arm doesn't smack that dead stop very violently if somebody is kicking the door open or if the wind catches it. And you can see that there's the lug, and we can move it to the other position to change the handing. We can also combine this arm, which is the backstop parallel arm, with a hold open. Same hold open that we were looking at earlier with the thumb turn that turns the hold open on and off, and that would be specified as an A5 arm. So there's our stop, and it's available for all three series. If you're looking for the most heavy duty arm that we sell really with any of our door closers, you're going to be looking for the Unitrol arm. And the Unitrol arm is a trademarked brand name, and we use this arm across Sargent, Corbin Russwin, and Norton and Yale. It's available with all of those brands, and it has a built-in shock absorber that actually is not a dead stop like we would have with the stop arm that we were showing earlier. It has a spring built in, and it's available with a non-hold open like you see here, which is an A11, and it is only available with the 8000 and the 6000. So I mentioned earlier there were some exceptions to the rule that all of the arms work across all three brands, but in this case the Unitrol is only available the 8000 and the 6000. If we would like the same arm with a hold open, and now we're at an A12, and again not available with the 3000. The way this hold open works is you just take a screwdriver and you rotate that little adjustment to turn the hold open on or off. And here's a few extra looks at that Unitrol arm and how it's mounted to the frame. Very, very secure. That top bracket that you see there keeps the alignment perfectly straight with the plane. It works really well. If we have an overhead stop, if we have an auxiliary stop on the door and we want to mount the door closer parallel, those are some things that we need to consider when we coordinate hardware together. So we have an A13 arm that is a offset arm, and it drops the door closer on the door 1 3/4 inches to give you room for an auxiliary stop, overhead stop that you could put on that door. So there is our auxiliary stop as an example, and it is only available with the 8000 and the 6000. I mentioned that there was another type of hold open that goes all the way to 180 degrees. That would be our A14 arm. It is handed. Do need to specify right hand or left hand, and that has to do with the type of threading that we put into the arm itself. But if you would like a heavy duty parallel with a hold open that is adjustable all the way to 180, again, depending on where you mount the door closer on the door, then that would be your A14 arm. And it, again, not available with our 3000. Let's say that we have a particular door closer in stock and we carry it in a particular way, but we know that every once in a while we'll have a customer in that needs a parallel arm offset bracket. We can order those brackets individually. You can also add them as a quick code when you're ordering the door closer. So just know that there are 2 separate part numbers there. One if you order it with, and one if you order it all by itself. And this is for the standard arm, and that drops it down for an auxiliary stop or overhead stop. We can also get you a bracket that mounts to a flush transom frame. And here's a picture of what that would look like. And again, you can order it with the door closer or just by itself. Moving from parallel, we're going to talk briefly about top jamb mounting. A top jamb is most often going to be used on exterior heavy duty doors where aesthetics and vandalism is not an issue, because top jamb allows for more strength than parallel. And that would be the DC8220. So we were the DC8200, the DC8210, and now we're at the DC8220, and you can kind of see how the part numbers work out. If we don't order any special arms, then the maximum reveal that this arm can handle is 3 1/4 inches, and that is the distance from the face of the frame to the face of the door. It can't be greater than 3 1/4 inches, and that's for the standard arm. If you have a frame that is deeper than that, then we have this arm that goes all the way up to 7 1/4. So from that, say 3 1/2 to 7 1/4, somewhere in that range. And it is available in painted and plated finishes, not for the DC3000. That is the A6 arm for the non-hold open, and the hold open version of that arm is the A8, Alpha 8. We can also make this with a track type, and track type is going to be specified, has to be specified push or pull. The 8230 is the pull track. It doesn't change the closer body itself, but it does change the type of track that we are using. One mounts to the face of the frame, and then one is actually screwed underneath to the stop. So that's what changes the track. Can't really modify them in the field to make one a pull and one a push. So just know that. It's available with a hold open as well. And again, hold open stays consistent as an A1. And that hold open can be turned on or turned off with a Phillips screwdriver, placing it into the track assembly itself. The 8240 is the push side version, and the track has the same features available as you would see with the pull. So going over part number ordering again briefly, if we have here a DC8210 parallel, our arm an A6, that is an offset finish 626 right hand D138, that would specify the door thickness as 1 inch and 3/8. And we have a couple of options, the M71 and M73. If you want the factory to pre-size these door closers, you can do that, sized 4, 5, and 6 if it's a track. You can also have the factory specify the size so they come automatically as a size 4, they come as a size 5, whatever you know that you're going to need for your project. And that is the last digit in that series. So the 8211 would be that parallel with a size 1, 8212 would be a parallel and a size 2, and so on. And within all of our catalogs, we have all of the arms listed and all of the finishes listed, everything that you need to build a proper part number string, as well as all of the quick codes. If you have a blade stop spacer, and this is primarily used for aluminum storefront doors, this definitely saves the technician from having to run to the hardware store and buy a piece of aluminum to put some holes in. But a lot of aluminum storefront doors don't have enough material to mount a parallel bracket. So this blade stop spacer, you can order it as a 1/2 inch or a 5/8, is great for those applications. And here's all of the listed quick codes that you can see there. M71 delayed action, M73 metal cover, corrosion protection, that is an extra painted primer that we put on our closers because they are cast iron, and cast iron, if it's not protected from the elements, will rust. So the extra corrosion protection is definitely necessary if you plan on using this on an exterior door. Perhaps it's a door that's outside, but you have a large awning over it. We don't ever recommend that you put door closers outside, but I know people do. If you have to, then definitely order that extra corrosion protection. So that's everything we were going to talk about for the 8000. So we're going to move on to real briefly for the 6000 and then also the 3000, because so many things that we mentioned with the 8000 are the same with the 6000 and the 3000. The 6000 just being a slightly smaller door closer. It's not designed to handle quite the use as this the 8000. And the key things that we see with the 6000, just like the 8000, heavy duty forged arms, adjustable spring from a 1 to 6, still those captured staked in valves that we were talking about, still comes with self-drilling screws and is still a bracket mount. Other brands often have a bracket mount for their top premium closer, but Corbin Russwin likes to keep that bracket mount standard across their closers, which I think is really awesome. We have cast iron body again, and powder painted arms available. So it is a heavy duty grade 1 closer, full featured in that you can get the delayed action, and it also has an additional valve we're going to talk about here in just a second. 4 mounting options, just like the 8000, top jam, parallel, regular, and track. Regular and heavy duty arms are available. We showed you those. 6 painted finishes, 6 plated finishes, and it also comes with a 25-year warranty. Now, this is where the valves are located on the 6000 series. You can see that the closer body looks a little bit different. I did want to show you that this door closer, which is unique to this one, has the ability to have a back check location valve. And that just allows you to change where back check engages. Normally it would engage at about 70 degrees, but we can move that to around 90 degrees, and that's for those doors that are templated to 180. It just moves your back check out a little bit. So here's our latching speed valve, closing speed valve. Our back check intensity is actually adjusted with a slotted screwdriver. there is our back check location and then our spring adjust. Now, one of these things that a little bit different, right, than what we were looking at with the 6000 is that, or the 8000, the 8000, the factory can pre-adjust, right? It's still going to be an adjustable door closer 1 to 6, but the factory can pre-adjust it. With the DC6000, we can actually just order a door closer specifically sized, and that door closer would not come adjustable, okay? So you've got the DC62 is a multi-sized 1 through 6. If we add a 4 on the second digit and make it a DC64, then we're asking for a particularly sized closer. Like I mentioned, it does come with a install bracket and a standard full cover. If we were looking at ordering, the ordering process is the same as the 8000 series. The series, mounting and size, the finish, and then any quick codes or options that we have. Here's an example, again, a DC6413, that tells us that it is a sized closer. It's going to be parallel mounted. It's going to be sized at a number 3, the finish 626, right hand, thickness of a door, and again, delay to action, and then a metal cover. The 3000 series is a slightly smaller door closer. It is a medium duty grade 1 closer. And remember I said that to be grade 1, you have to go 1.5 million cycles. So this one meets that. It has a smaller piston diameter. It's really designed for those lighter doors and the doors that are just used less. It is still cast iron, regular and heavy duty arms available, although less arms available than what you would find with the 2 previous, 6 painted finishes, and 3 mounting options, which means it's not available in a track mount. And this one comes with a 15-year warranty. So those were our rack and pinion closers. We're going to move on now to a new technology, a relatively new technology for us, and that is cam action. That is our DC5000 series. And the cam action is very, very efficient when you have doors that need to be very aesthetically pleasing. Also, you want to comply with ADA for force, which means that you've only got 5 pounds that you can work with on force for ADA in some applications. So we designed this door closer. It is available with multiple brands, but it is very, very efficient. It makes the door very easy to open all the way through the opening cycle. And at the last little bit, it makes gives the door extra strength to latch. It is a non-handed closer, one-piece heavy-duty arm, and they're very easy to install, just like any closer. It is still adjustable spring power from a 1 through 6, just like the previous door closers we were looking at. You have the same valves, the closing speed, latching speed, the back check, and delay to action is also an option. This is a aluminum door closer, where the previous ones were all cast iron. And we're going to watch a quick video showing exactly how this works.
The Corbin Russwin DC6000 cam action door closer features a revolutionary design that combines the aesthetics of a track-type closer with superior performance. Our cam action closers are incredibly efficient. The secret is this unique cam assembly. Closing forces are applied to the spindle through the continuously smooth surface of the cam and roller bearing follower. The combination of the piston and cam design greatly increases efficiency. The results are astonishing. On doors equipped with cam action closers, the strength required to pull the door open remains easy throughout the entire opening range. On doors using a rack and pinion closer with a track, the effort required to open the door rises exponentially as the door is opened. There's also a difference in how each door will close. The cam action closer applies a consistent amount of force across the entire closing range, and the closing force actually rises at the last moment, right when the door needs extra force to set the latch. The force of a rack and pinion closer with track decreases as the door closes, providing the least amount of force at latch. Simply put, the Corbin Russwin DC6000 cam action door closer is the most efficient surface-mounted door closer on the market today. This means that a door equipped with this closer will feel light to open, yet still have plenty of power to overcome light stack pressure or other problems at latch. Corbin Russwin cam action technology, combining the very best in aesthetics, performance, and innovation.
So looking at the internal workings of this closer, we have a 2-piston design. We have the cam in the middle. We have a main piston and spring. And if we look here, it's really cool. They have this recess in the cam, and this roller falling into that recess is what gives this door closer a little extra force to give you some extra power at the latching where you need it. Once the roller is right here on the outside of this cam, that's why the power needed to open the door stays very, very consistent and easy. So we have 110 opening range, 110 degree opening range for the push and pull side. Again, adjustable 1 through 6. It's a non-handed closer body. It is anti-BHMA grade 1. 10-year warranty on this one. And if you have a door where you're really having an issue latching the door and you also have to meet ADA, this is definitely one that I would consider. So the 5230 is the hinge, is the pull side. So the door closer is on the side where you can see the hinges. And the track itself is mounted onto the face of the frame. And the push side is the 5240. So definitely make sure that you know whether it's going to be a push or pull before you're ordering this particular closer. An example, same way, A1 means that it's hold open. Hold open is available with both the push or the pull. So specify A1 if you want hold open. Same way that we specify the finishes. Quick codes, you can specify the sex nuts and bolts as an M54. And that brings me to the end of our presentation, but I want to talk briefly about some digital tools that we have, that we've developed to make your job easier. The first one, if you have not downloaded this yet, is the ASSA ABLOY Customer Support app. You can go to your Google Play Store or your iTunes Store and search ASSA ABLOY and look for the person with the headset. That is going to be the app, totally free for you to use. You don't have to give us your information if you don't want to, but if you're using the app to talk to one of our tech reps or our customer service reps and you get disconnected, having your information in the app gives them the ability to call you back. So I think that's critical. This app allows you to get to all of your installation documents, all of your templates, your wiring diagrams, as well as talk and stream video directly with a customer support and tech rep whenever you're on site. So definitely very beneficial having this on your phone. If you're not in the field, but you're at a desktop working, then our ASSAABLOYDSS.com resource center is where you can find your catalogs, your templates, your installation instructions, all of those things that you can also find on the ASSA ABLOY Customer Support app. You'll find on our digital resource center. So with that, I want to thank everybody so much for tuning in today. I hope that you found this educational, and I'll open this up to any questions that you may have, and I'll stick around for just a few minutes. I do want to mention that ASSA ABLOY Academy, there are 5 of us instructors that all kind of have different backgrounds in the industry, and we work together, I think, pretty well as a team to serve the customers. If you have some custom training that you need for your office, then just please reach out to us and we can make that happen. If there are no questions, I really appreciate everybody's time today, and be safe and take care. Bye-bye.